On worksheet 15, we're going to start working on factoring, which we will use to solve quadratic equations for the rest of the 6 weeks. But we're going to do some very basic stuff. So first of all, if you'll remember, this is from middle school. A factor is a number that goes into a number. Or that can be one of the numbers that can be multiplied together to give you a number. So the factors of 12, for example, are 1 and 12s. Let me make that easier to read. 1 and 12. Does 2 go into 12? Yes, it does. 6 times. Does 3 go into 12? Yes, it does. 4 times. And then 4 is over here on the other side already. So we know that there's no more numbers that will go evenly into 12. 4 goes into 12, but we already have that one. 5 doesn't go in. 6 goes in, but we already have that one. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 will not go in evenly to 12. All right, so that's a factor. Factor of 36. 1 goes in 36 times. 2 goes in 18 times. 3 goes in 12 times. 4 goes in 9 times. And 6 goes in 6 times. So since the next number we check is over on this, or since those are the same, there are no more factors. So 7 and 8 don't go in, 10, 11 don't go in, 13, so forth and so on. Now, also, the next thing is a common factor. So what is the greatest, meaning the largest, common factor of the pair? Well, what's the largest number that goes into both of those? Well, it happens to be 12. All right, so if you don't know or don't feel comfortable doing this, you can use the calculator. So there is a trick. You go into y equals, and you do this number, or this number, either one, do 36 divided by x. Because that's what I was doing. Does 1 go into it? Does 2 go into it? Does 3 go into it? If you go then into the table and start at 1, 1 goes into it 36 times, 2, 18, 3, 12, 4, 9, 6, and 6. And that's that same list that I was able to do. All right, and then you just have to look and see what is the largest number that goes into both of them, and you have your answer. So let's do 15 and 25. So you may just know what's the biggest number that goes into both of those. You may just know that it's 5, and that's okay. That would be the best thing. But if you didn't know, 1 and 15, 2 does not go into 5, 3 goes in 5 times, 4 doesn't go in, and 5 is our next number, and it's already over here. So we're done. So 25, 1 and 25. The next one that goes in evenly is 5. So the greatest common factor is 5. All right, I'll leave those two for you to do, and we'll go on down here to the bottom. So now these, so when we have an expression, this is what we use this for the most, is to factor out the greatest common factor. So what's the biggest number that goes into both of these? Now, it's not too bad when there's just numbers, but when we have the variables, it gets a little more confusing, and we'll talk about that as we get to one. So first of all, what goes into 5 and 10? 5. So what we're going to do here is we're going to factor this out. So we're going to divide both of these by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and there's an x there. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. But we have to not forget, whatever we divided is going to go outside the parentheses. Now, if you'll notice, this is just the opposite of the distributive property. So if we were to distribute this again, 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 1 is 5. So factoring with expressions is the opposite of the distributive property. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So we'll do another simple one, and then we'll go on to something harder. Okay, well, look. So this, what goes into both 10 and 12? 2. But look, there's also an x in both of these. So we are going to divide by the x also. So our answer is going to be 2x on the outside of the parentheses, and then 10 divided by 2 is 5. And x squared divided by x, so this x squared is like an xx. And I'm going to cancel one of them, and I still have an x left, plus 6. And I canceled those, so that's my answer. All right, number 7. So these are just 1, so the only thing that goes into 1 and 3 is 1, so that doesn't do anything. However, there is an x in all of these, so I'm going to take out an x. So I'm going to divide everything by x. Remember, x squared is really an xx, so if I cancel, I only cancel one of them. I'm going to cancel the x here, so plus 3y. And then when I cancel the x here, be careful that it's not 0, it's 1. In this case, negative 1. Okay, number 12. So what goes into 9 and 18? Careful, 3 goes into both of them, but there's a bigger one, 9. So we're going to take out a 9. And then there's also an x in both of those. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. And I take away one of the x's, so I'm left with an x. 9 divided by 9 is 1, and that's negative, so negative 1. And the x's cancel, so that's my answer. All right, I'm going to do one more and leave the other ones for you to do. Let's see, which one's the most different? We'll do this one. Actually, we'll do both of them just because this one is different. So this one, is there anything I can take out of all three of these? There's not. So I can't divide x because only those two have x. I can't divide 3 because only those two have 3 in them. That one doesn't. So there is nothing I can divide. So I am going to say that this one is prime, which means that it can't be divided by anything. All right, so I'll do one more. So this one, because it's y's instead of x's, but it's not difficult other than that. So what can go into 4, 12, and 16? Well, can 4 go into it? Yep. Is there a y in all of these? Yeah. Is there an x in all of them? No. So I'm going to divide them all by 4y. So 4y, 4y. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. We take away one of the y's. Negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. And the y goes away. And then 16 divided by 4 is 4. The y's go away, but the x stays. All right, so finish up the rest of them. And make sure that you pick one and don't pick this one. Don't pick that one for this. So not number 9, but any of the other ones, and explain how you found those answers.